This video is going to be the first in a series of about 20 videos where I'll be going through basically one of every Star Wars CCG sealed product. This is a premier introductory two-player game. It's a bit different from starter decks. Starter decks weren't necessarily playable right out of the box. They, at least for premier, they had 30 light side and 30 dark side. So this has pre-constructed starter decks. It does include unique Luke and Vader cards not found anywhere else, which wasn't necessarily a good thing because they weren't really anything too useful outside of this exact introductory game. We can probably see them on the back here, at least the Vader I remember seeing. So on the back of the box there is the Vader, very restrictive text, and a Luke as well. So we'll get this open, take a look at what's in the decks, and also there's an extra booster pack inside, so we'll open that. Pretty much anything from Premier could be in there, so we'll see what that is. Heard there's a version of this released in England too, from Waddington's, I believe the company was. Those are apparently more rare, or at least for most people who play the game, who, to my knowledge, are usually in the United States in terms of the majority of players, but there's still a very large European player base. Not sure how many times I've opened a brand new one of these, but I want to make sure I'm careful with the box. A little bit dented on the back there. You can kind of see in the light there's some wrinkling going on right about there where my left thumb is. Okay. Okay, so on the top, a rules booklet. I don't have too many of these. Looks like we got our pack and our decks in there as well. So the rules booklet is going to have all the basics. A lot of these rules have been changed now. But a card list for Premier in there, that's kind of interesting. And let's see, what's highlighted in yellow there? Oh, okay, so anything that's the introductory two-player game is highlighted in yellow, so that's interesting. Don't know if I've ever flipped through one of these before. So, rules about battling, starships. I see attrition up here. I remember when I first got in the game, we didn't really understand attrition, so we just skipped it. And yeah, it was pretty tough to get through battles then when essentially the only way you could get rid of people is by weapons or by battle damage and forfeit. So an older version of the rules. We got our proof of purchase down here if we need that. Probably won't do us any good anymore. And then a glossary in the back. And then a nice helpful guide for the phases of the game for when you play. So just to look at a glance what you should do on each turn. I think I'll start with the light side deck. It says on here, made in Belgium. Not sure the best way to open these. Oh, I think I got a seam on the front here. Maybe not. So the Luke's right on the top there. I remember the starter decks being very difficult to open. Some people just stick an X-Acto knife right inside the rule book, which is right in the middle of the deck, but I want to avoid knives around these cards if I can. But I might get in there with scissors. There we go. Okay, so it should come off easier now. A lot of older packs are brittle. These ones are still pretty well put together. Okay, I got the end off there. There we go. Starting out with our Luke that can't deploy if there are two or more of opponent's unique characters on table, so basically it only works when Vader's around. These smell brand new. Even from here I can, I have that new card smell. But just lots of basic characters. There's some warping going on with these. I'm not sure if it can be really shown all that much in the picture, of at least for the video, but they're just slightly curved. There's a lot of cards like that. Run, Luke, run. A pretty useful interrupt even to this day. A lot more useful than the Luke has ended up being. And there's probably a few copies of Luke in here. So a lot of Tatooine sites, which makes sense if that's where Luke can deploy to. But some Death Star stuff as well. This is the exclusive light side card in this particular set. So you don't really see this anywhere outside of this starter set. And one of the few Death Star sites that has icons for both sides. Another Luke. Some mining droids if you want to use those. Those can be fun timer mines. Especially if your opponent stacked a bunch of guys at one site and has nowhere to move to. I've had some fun with that before. Some electro binoculars in here. In the Empire Strikes Back one, there's a error printing of the electro binoculars where they make it so it only costs 1 force. So when I open the Empire Strikes Back one, hopefully I'll find one of those in there. So just lots of useful interrupts. Even back then they were useful, and some of them now are pretty good. Like it could be worse paying to use force to reduce your force loss. If you've managed your resources wisely, that can be pretty useful. We'll set the light side over here. Okay, so the dark side one looks like it's our... Oh, that was just leftover wrap from my light side one. Okay. It's hard to tell where exactly these are sealed. There we go. Hopefully that booster pack will go easier. Thanks for your patience. So similar warping to the other one, where it just has a slight curve to it. And I'm not sure, you can kind of tell from there. So definitely if you were playing in unsleeved decks, you would notice this. But if you ever had a reason to play a Vader, you wouldn't probably notice if it was in a sleeve deck. Probably a lot of basic Stormtroopers we're going to see. That's the exclusive interrupt to this set, so allows Vader to duel Luke. It can be pretty rough, too. The winner loses force equal to the difference of two destiny plus power. So Vader could really hand it to Luke there, depending on what the destinies are. Or, of course, if Luke draws 2 Run Luke runs, Destiny 6, then Luke could win the duel. So Stormtroopers, Death Star Troopers, this one focuses more on the Death Star. That's the exclusive site for the dark side for this one. Allows you to deploy a docking bay pretty much as many times as you want from your reserve deck. Not a very good starting location nowadays, but I've got to wonder if back in the day, just be able to get docking bays out, if that was a useful starting location to quickly get force activation. Of course, most docking bays only give 1 icon to each player, or 1 0. More Stormtroopers and their utility belts. So we're probably going to see a lot of the same stuff in here. So these are 2 very playable decks, it looks like. They go to a lot of the same places. It's interesting to have the same locations in there multiple times. You're going to draw a lot of zeros. When you draw a location, it counts as a 0 in the game. So, we got our tray here. Probably nothing under the tray, that's correct. But we got a randomized booster, so anything could be in here. Well, anything from Premier Unlimited, that is. Try to open this one very carefully, see if I can salvage the wrapper. Oh, got the front there at the end, that wasn't so good. Okay. Believe the rare is going to be the 5th card in. So a rare is probably a light side card if I counted correctly. Seems like I did, if that was 5. So a lot of similar cards we're going to see. So like Imperial Barrier, I remember seeing one of those. Stormtrooper. The commons are going to be fairly present in both. The uncommons now. An interesting card, being able to add your power to an adjacent site. Okay, there we go. That's a sense. A very useful interrupt. Fresh out of the pack, too, in nice shape. Our rare is a weapon. Oh, it's a Seeker. So it could have been Han's Blaster, which isn't that good, but It's hard to do worse than a Seeker in one of these packs. That was kind of a rough arrangement there, but it was nice to see that rule book, which I don't know if I've flipped through one before, and just what the arrangement of the starter decks was. So that was the Premier 2-player game. My next video I'll be doing an Empire Strikes Back 2-player game, which focuses more on Hoth. And in that one, I believe that also has a Premier pack, so we'll see what other kind of Seeker I can get. Thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in for the next video.